All right, let's go. So this is a massive story, massive, for reasons that I don't think people will put together if I don't translate for them. That's why I'm at a hotel in a conference room, and I'm going to go ahead and just break this down for everybody in a way that, I don't know, people don't necessarily analyze the business will understand, because Jake Paul announced he's going to fight MMA. If people haven't been watching his career lately, by the way, if this is your first time to my channel, this is obviously not my normal setup. I literally came downstairs from a hotel room to a conference room to do this video, because this is the implications of this story. I realize people are gonna be like, oh, who cares if Jake Paul goes to MMA? You don't understand. You do not understand what that'll mean. So let me just break this down. Okay. So Jake Paul just announced that he is making an MMA debut. He says he needs a year to train. He said he's doing it with a major MMA organization. Okay. So maybe UFC, maybe another one. But this is why this is potentially the biggest story of the decade. Okay. Is the only time that UFC had any real competition. The last time the UFC had any real competition was, I mean, Pride and all that, but was Elite XC. Like, if you go back and you actually watch where Elite XC, where it came out, the UFC was kind of like concerned because Elite XC was getting better ratings than them. And, they ended up, obviously, that fell apart. But the reason why Elite XC was able to do that is because they built the entire thing around Kimbo Slice. Okay, so they had this one dude who came in and drew all the eyeballs, Kimbo Slice. Boom, all the eyes, right? You have all these other little ancillary organizations right now. PFL, ONE FC is actually not ancillary at all. But ONE FC, PFL, Bellator, etc. And this is the thing. Jake Paul making his MMA debut in one of these other organizations would be absolutely earth-shattering in terms of attention on that organization. And the reason why this is so important right this second is because Nate Diaz is a free agent and Francis Ngannou is a free agent. Okay. If one of these guys makes a real gangster ass play and they were able to sign Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, Francis Ngannou, that changes the entire world. It'll change the whole world. That is an earth-shifting deal. Now, is someone going to be able to do that? Who knows? But if I was going to guess, Jake says major MMA organization. Obviously, everyone's going to be like, oh, I wonder if it's UFC. And maybe it will be. I'll be honest. I'll be excited no matter what when Jake comes in. Here's the other thing. If Jake Paul says he's going to fight, if he says he's going to fight in MMA and you bet against that, you are watching a different movie than I've been watching. The guy's done every single thing that he said he's going to do. He's done every single thing that he said he's going to do. Why would this be any different? Now, I will say this. I'll say that, I'll talk about the statement that he made. I read it and I was like, okay, you never he's such a good, he's such a good promoter, self-promoter, that you always, and anything he says, you have to just kind of think, okay, well, you can't just take that at face value. You know what I mean? Maybe maybe he means what he's saying. Maybe he doesn't. But when I read his statement, I was like, one thing primarily is he said, I need the time. He's going to go to AKA and train. Javier Mendez will train him. He'll be good, dude. He'll be fucking good. He'll be good. He will be super dangerous immediately. The guy has nuclear power. He's super fucking fast. Has a wrestling background. He'll be good. He'll be scary out of the gate. But the one thing that I read that he said was, I'll probably need a year and a half to learn the kicks. He's like, I already know jujitsu. My hands are good. He's like, I just need to learn the kicks. I read that. I was like, oh man, you already know jujitsu? They're like, I don't even think I've ever heard a black belt say that. It's just it's a bizarre thing. But it's probably just him. He's probably breaking balls. And that is honestly a brilliant way to fucking troll just in general. Oh, I already know jujitsu, dude. But I know. I see you guys say USADA. I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, he doesn't look super juiced up to me. He really doesn't. He looks like a big, thick boy, like his fucking brother. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if one of these organizations got Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, Francis? It would be absolutely crazy. Jake Paul, scary. Yeah. You want to get punched in the face with that guy? By that guy? If you guys, do you watch his sparring? It's like I don't understand. I don't compare his just pure hand striking with the majority of guys, you know, mid-level guys in the UFC. Like, if you think that like his just pure hand game is like way off of UFC fighters, that's just not accurate. It's just not accurate. And he's got nuclear power, and he's super fucking fast, dude. He's dangerous, man. He's dangerous. But anyway, but I'll tell you right now, he's more dangerous. He's more dangerous to the organization if he, but maybe the UFC will sign him. I mean, honestly, Dana's like, here's the thing, dude. I'm at an event right now, and I spent a long time last night talking to somebody, a big, like a, you know, anyway, a player, a real player. And we were talking about this thing that happened over here and how someone wanted to handle it. And I was just saying, I was like, look, I advise them, what you're about to send, this is an emotional reaction. Like, this thing you're about to send off, play it out. You send that over there, what happens? You feel better. You think you got over, you poison that new relationship that they're doing in this business thing. But then what? What then? What's going to happen after step one? Okay, you poison that little relationship. Now what? Play it out. Because then this. And I'm like, so that's an emotional choice. Business, never. Like, never. You can never make emotional decisions in business. Never. Enemies are the enemy of money. There is no money in having enemies, dude. Never. I mean, if you're a fighter and you're promoting shit, but in terms of like real business, there's no upside in enemies. And Dana is fucking business. Now, he has the ability to make things personal because he's the guy. But he also, dude, you think Dana wouldn't sign Jake? Dana would sign Jake in a fucking heartbeat. In a fucking heartbeat, he would sign Jake. In a heartbeat. But, then it really comes back to, would Jake sign with the UFC after going so hard in the paint about fighter pay and all that stuff? Like, dude, you want to talk about one of the most gangster ass trolls of all time? Like, just straight up one of the most absolutely fucking gangster trolls of all time is if Jake signed with the UFC, took the money, and just was like, yeah, I did that. After all that shit, like after all the talk about fighter pay and all that, he just was like, yeah, I took that money. He's like, I don't know, something about $20 million in your pocket just makes you not care so much about, fighter health benefits. Like, everyone would just be like, damn. Or I would be like, this guy is fucking brilliant. Brilliant. He likes playing the heel. What's a bigger heel move than like posing for years that you're fighting, you're fighting for fighter pay, and then you just completely, you out in the open, you do the thing where they pay you off to stop talking. But yeah. I don't know. I mean, look. Oh, Jake will fight. He's not going to fight he'll fight someone he can beat for sure. For 100% sure. Because you know what? You don't have any idea how much money there will be in watching Jake Paul fight MMA. Unfathomable. He's Brock Lesnar. The only comparable person to come into MMA versus Jake Paul if he comes in is Brock Lesnar. That is exactly what it'll be like. It'll be Jake Paul will be fucking identical to Brock Lesnar. They'll run the exact same model. It'll be exactly the same. It'll be exactly the same. And again, I have a feeling it'll play out the same. You know, where like I remember when Brock Lesnar first came in, and it was like, you know, I think he got heel hooked in his first fight against Frank Mir, if I'm remembering correctly, in his UFC. Oh no, wait, hang on. Did he fight? Can't remember if he fought Heath in his debut or. Yeah, okay. So he came in, he got knee barred. He got knee barred in his first fight against Frank Mir. Then he fought Heath Herring. And yeah, rattled off 4 in a row. I mean, look, I remember when people were, you know, I don't know, like really, Alan, thank you very much. Much appreciated. I remember when he was, you know, like everyone was so dismissive of Brock Lesnar's skills. And I just remember being like, I don't understand what they're watching, dude. This guy's a fucking 300-pound, like super heavyweight, like American wrestling champion who moves at lightning speed. Like I always just imagine what it'd be like to have that guy on top of you. And you're like, I don't understand. Why does everybody think this guy has nothing to bring to the table? And then he would go in, he would smash guys. Like I remember when it was Randy versus Brock and Brock was the underdog, I was looking at him like, what the fuck are they what are they talking about? How the fuck is Randy Couture going to win this fight, dude? Like I remember that fight seeming so obvious to me, where I was like, Randy is a wrestler first. He has good striking, but not good enough to subdue a guy who's faster than him, stronger than him, and is better than him, or at least as good in the core competency that he implements. Like I never understood. I was like, I don't understand. And then it went exactly like I thought. And everyone was like, whoa, I can't believe he beat Randy Couture. I'm like, Randy was just fighting at 205, dude. Like Randy's a heavyweight that goes back and forth. Brock is cutting 40 pounds to make fucking 265. He's an absolute monster. But like with Jake, again, I'm telling you, because let me go back to the original point. So the reason that they'll give him someone he can beat out of the gate is because you can make so much money with Jake Paul, like so much money, fucking record-breaking numbers, absolutely record-breaking numbers. And if he goes in there and he gets beat down, it's like, oh, geez, like there's no more money. He has to win, like if he goes out there and has a war and does really well and then like lose it, whatever, that's not the same thing. But like if he goes out there and he gets beat down by someone really good, or like someone, just bottom line, they want him to win. The matchmaking process is an art form, and it's like, it's rare when you get someone where the opponent genuinely does not matter and you still can make a fortune, like that's actually really rare, where you got like, where straight up they could be fighting fucking anyone. It makes no difference. And you still are going to, just print money. And that's exactly what Jake Paul is. You fucking put him in there with anyone. And it'll sell lights out. How many guys are there in the UFC that Jake Paul can beat? Fair, dude. Again, the guy has he has good striking. He's not like, I mean, I don't know. You'll have to, like he said, he needs a year to train kicks, which he probably does, and like, but I mean, there are lots of guys, you give them a stylistic matchup with someone who likes to box, someone who goes in there and kind of likes to use their hands first. And if Jake has half decent takedown defense and a guy gets trapped on his feet, boxing with Jake Paul in MMA gloves, he can beat anyone if he catches him. And he's fucking fast, super powerful. I mean, we're not talking like top guys. I'm not saying like he's going to walk in there and be fighting against fucking Israel Adesanya. But you're saying like, are there any fights in the UFC where he opposes a wrist to the guys? Of course. It just depends on the matchup. It's like, you know, if you put him in there with someone who's a vicious wrestler, yeah, he's probably going to have a really probably going to have a tough time. He's like, yeah, I've been wrestling forever. You're all, I mean, yeah, but like, that's all this dude does, like, ever. He's going to take you down. You're going to have a hard time. But what's this? Dude, this is Sheath Underwear, son. This is the #1 sponsor in the game. Dude, you want to know why Sheath Underwear is the best? A, because the underwear is the best, but also Sheath Underwear only sponsors, I just realized this, they only sponsor channels that are awesome. Like if you look at like the channels that they sponsor, they're all awesome. It's like Awaken with JP, my channel. It's all channels that they watch. Alan, thank you very much. Okay, so Jesse, let's take it as a given that this happens. What's his end game, money aside? Dude, honestly, I think that he is one of these guys that's like, I think I can do that. I could do it. And then he does it. Like, I think the idea that like that he's not getting any satisfaction out of training for a boxing match and then winning is ludicrous. Like, you understand how many people the reason I'm training in jiu-jitsu so much now is because I never knew that there's like fucking organized competitions that people can fight in forever. Like this guy, there's like 60-year-old men that fight against other 60-year-old men in jiu-jitsu. I never knew that infrastructure existed. I never had any idea. I just didn't know. And so now that I know it, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, I can fight. Like I can go like right now, you just go train and fight against guys my size, age, and skill, or like, you know, experience level. Let's fucking go, son. Like the stakes of me winning some jiu-jitsu tournament are significantly fucking 1,000 times lower than Jake Paul taking on an MMA fighter in a pay-per-view event and winning. You know, I'm doing this shit for no reason, just because it's fun, because I like to compete. So I'm trying to catch up so I can actually be good at jiu-jitsu by the time I'm 50. Hopefully well before that. But like Jake Paul's like, yeah, I'll go fight in the fucking UFC. Like he's like, yeah, I'll fight a UFC fighter. He starches him. Fuck it. Oh, give me a world champion. Starches him. Oh, that's not good enough. Give me Anderson Silva. Cool. MMA? Yeah, I'll do MMA. Let's go. Like that's why he's doing it. That's why he's doing it. Yeah, I just don't understand yeah, I mean, 6'3", 6'4", 230, I got it. You throw a good front kick, you keep him away pretty well. But you're assuming that, I mean, he's not going to fight. He's not going to like, thank you, Alan, again. Thank you very much. He's not going to fight tomorrow. He's not going to fight fucking tomorrow. He's going to train. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be world champion or anything. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be a fucking world champion. I'm saying, like, look, bottom line, MMA, boxing, whatever, anyone who can move like him and can hit as hard as him poses danger, a lot of it, to anyone. There's no one with any experience that can watch Jake Paul box and not go, yeah, you have to be really careful in there with him because he can fucking decapitate you if you make a mistake. It's like, it has nothing to do with his personality, it has nothing to do with anything. It's just an objective fucking fact. If you just watch, it's like, okay, what would happen if I got caught with that shot? You're like, you're fucking unconscious for 100% sure. He's got a nuclear right hand, dude. But I mean, look, if you're 6'3", 6'4", and he is super inexperienced with kicks, yeah, of course, dude, stick a front kick in his fucking chest, stick one in his gut, make him think about it, kick his leg again. He's like, holy shit, this kick thing is different. Set him up like you're going to hit him with a body kick and fucking put a shin inside of his temple. Of course. But I'm saying like, he's going to train for that. You know, like he's not like he's not going to be fighting tomorrow. I will say this. Some people learn to kick and check and stuff pretty well. And the one, you know what, actually, let's do this together. Hold on. Let's all look at this. Cause I was going to say something and I just realized I don't remember if I'm saying something accurate. So let's do this. Let's do this together. Hold on. I want to look up like that video of him kicking. I feel like, hang on, let's see. All right. Okay. So straight up, if that is true, if that's actually his first day, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Dude, you know who I've decided recently has the best, like, I think the best fucking kicks, not necessarily just for power, but like for just, they're just beautiful to look at. Round kicks is fucking Chito Vera, dude. Like Chito Vera's round kick is like, it's fucking crazy how far he pivots his foot, and he's got like, hang on, let me see if I can find one. Like the one I was watching, he was on a bag, and I was like, oh my God, dude, that is fucking, I mean, oh, can't watch that one. Dude, where was that? Boxing for MMA. I don't know. I just realized I can't. Oh, I didn't even have it up. I thought, well, that's lucky. I thought you guys were on there. Still doesn't mean he won't get head kicked in his skull after checking one. Yeah, of course, dude. Like, you got to figure he's going to, dude, he's going to go to AKA is what he said. He said he's going to go to AKA and Javier Mendez is going to train him. So like, I mean, those guys, they're not going to go in there without having prepped him for things. The one thing, I mean, dude, a full throttle head kick coming at you, it's impossible to train that because no one's going to kick you in the head that hard in training, you know? So at the very least, if someone uses misdirection and just for a second, like you think it's going somewhere else, or they hide it behind a punch and you don't see it coming, it will, I mean, inevitably, it will be the first time you've ever seen a kick come that fast at you. So, you know, but he's a fucking ridiculous athlete, man. But yeah, I mean, dude, they like look at what they did with CM Punk, dude. Like they put CM Punk in there with someone who was, I mean, I don't even know. It was like, I can't even remember what that guy's record was, but it was something not good. You know, well, first they did Mickey Gall and he fucking strangled him in a heartbeat. But that's so that's like a perfect example, right? So I was saying, like, if you look at Brock Lesnar, is a wrestler you're going to find in the UFC, right? I mean, maybe triple, I'm not necessarily, I don't even know if I don't keep the Olympics, but like maybe not a gold medalist, but he's as dangerous a top grappler that you're going to find going into a mixed martial arts career generally. So like, it's not like he had no base of skills. CM Punk, as I understand it, basically was like kind of starting from scratch with everything. Like it was like, he was just like starting from scratch. And then if you just watched CM Punk, and this is no disrespect for him, I don't know how old he was or whatever, but he's just like, you could just tell he wasn't like a prime pristine athlete either. He just isn't that fast. He's just not like a really, really fast guy, and Jake is explosive. He is super, super explosive, and he has nuclear power. And so it's like, I mean, one thing that, I'll tell you one thing that we haven't seen at all that you have, that's a total fucking question mark about Jake is how he handles like real adversity, So like, as an example, say he fights someone that starts really kicking his legs, like really kicking his legs. I mean, I have no opinion on how he would handle it because there's no data to evaluate, So it'll be really, really interesting to see who they would put him against. So whatever organization he ends up in, it'll be really interesting to see who they put him against. I think he'd have heart too. So this is the thing. Jake versus Silva, if that fight is clean, I'm always kind of weird about these exhibitions. I'm not saying one way or the other. It has nothing to do with it. Well, kind of has to do with it being Jake, only because like this is kind of like a one-person show. But I'm not throwing accusations at him or his team or anything like that. I just mean like in general, it's just kind of like, well, okay, so if one guy wins, then they can go make another $50-100 million. If the other guy wins, then they might not be able to, whatever. But like, if it's a genuinely just completely clean fight, I talked about this in another video. The difference that I see between Anderson Silva and any other person I've ever seen transition from MMA to pure boxing is like basically exactly what we were talking about in reverse, where it's like, okay, so I mean, unless he's boxing like a really like a solid professional boxer, he's dangerous to anybody who like boxing wise, like his skills, he's solid. But then when you throw in all these other variables, the ability to elbow out of the clinch, the ability to kick legs. I mean, I'm just talking stand up, not even takedown stuff. It's like the ability to kick his legs, ability to front kick his body, front kick his chin, all that shit. Like it's just a bunch of other things to think about that you have to be like, striking's just a game of tag, That's literally all it is. It's just tag with dire consequences if you're wrong, All right. I make sure that hand doesn't hit me. I'll catch it like a catcher. Okay, if this thing comes, it's just like muscle memory reactions to different things that come in your direction. And so I've always found it really bizarre that like guys who are really vicious, like kickboxers or Muay Thai guys, and they come into box. Well, that's actually not true. That's not true. That's actually not true. Like really good Muay Thai guys usually like look pretty good boxing also, or really good depending. But like MMA guys or whatever, it's like they come in and you would think again that it just being boxing, pure boxing, two weapons that you need to be concerned about would make it much easier. Like it seems like it would make it more simple, But then somehow whenever they box, it just doesn't translate like that. where it's like this should be easier for you, but these boxers are piecing you up. Anderson Silva is the only person I've ever seen where the way you think it should be looks to be the way it is, where he just looks like he looks like he's taking a nap in there. Like, he's just like, all I have to worry about is these two fucking, you're going to hit me with one of those? He's like, yeah, no, you're not. Go ahead. This is me at 45, son. He's like, that's how simple this fucking game is. 45. So, dude, I would love to do a show with Big John. Big John's a fucking stud. He's a stud. But yeah, Anderson Silva, he at least in the fights that I've seen so far, he just makes it look like he's in absolutely no danger. Like, in his mind, like he's not, like when you're squared up with a guy who's trying to like decapitate you, it's like there's just like that sense of, like a person, you're on edge, like a person's on edge. It's like, all right, like I'm focused. I'm trying to find a place where I can get to you, and then, but I want to be able to get away from you as fast as possible, or I need to be able to slip. Like, it's like I don't know. It's like the energy of like a nervous person. It's like a healthy way to do it. Anderson literally looks like he's taking a nap while he's in there, dude. Like, he's just like, he looks like he's salsa dancing. I mean, just the same way he did when he was, fighting in the UFC, but with boxing, it just looks even more relaxed. He's like, 2 punches. He's like, how the fuck? You're not going to hit me with that shit. He's like, oh. So I don't know. Like, I mean, the point of all of that is I think Jake will have a hard time with Anderson. And I think Jake's nasty. I just think Anderson is, Big John McCarthy. I think Anderson is a terrible matchup, like because the thing is, when you look at who were Anderson Silva's, who were the fucking worst matchups ever. I'm sorry. Who were the people where Anderson Silva was like the worst matchup for them ever? Was guys who primarily fought from their feet, who in many cases had a lot of power, but were not super precise, they weren't surgeons, like they were guys who like would come in there and like, they like to make it ugly. They're tough fucking guys, like Bisping is the only fucking guy like that who beat Anderson, and I didn't mean that as like a negative at Bisping even at all. I just mean like on paper, what I'm kind of talking about, like when I'm saying like they're surgeons, that's not necessarily even a good thing. Like, I don't mean that as like I just mean it's like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Like where it's oh God, what's his name that knocked out Anderson Silva that Dana used to always get so pissed at, and he just retired because they never threw any punches. Fuck. Who my guess, I bet you it's PFL would be my guess. Uriah Hall. Exactly. So like Uriah Hall is a perfect example of like a surgeon, like he's a surgeon and he knocked out Anderson, but that doesn't mean it was like good for his career because he never threw any fucking punches. But that's the kind of person that actually posed a little bit of danger for Anderson because they didn't take these like reckless chances. Bisping was a fucking mauler, dude. Like, Bisping was going to put it on you one way or the other. Like, he's going to come forward. He's going to make you fight. Like, you're going to have to fucking fight Bisping. And normally those guys, Anderson would fuck those guys up. Just fucking demolish those guys. And, and Bisping beat him. But anyway, but like, any of those other guys. And if you were going to, like, I mean, which Jake Paul's not necessarily, I mean, from what I've seen, I just haven't seen him fight that much. It's hard to even actually put him in a category, but especially since it's boxing and it's different. But I mean, I don't know. Do you guys think that he's going to catch Anderson with a big, heavy shot? And if he doesn't catch him with a big, heavy shot, who do you think is going to land more punches in the tag game? Now we're playing tag. Who do you think is going to touch the other person more, Anderson or Jake? So like, I mean, like I said, I've been talking this entire video. I'm extremely bullish on Jake's chances in whatever he does, to be honest. But against Anderson, that's a fucking tough matchup, man. It's just a tough matchup. If I hadn't seen Anderson fight recently, like if I hadn't seen Anderson fight recently, then I would be like, well, he's super old now. But like he just fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. what, like a year ago or something like that? That's the fight that I'm basing it on. It's like, geez, man. And everybody's like, oh, Julio Cesar, that guy's he's a bum. I'm like, I mean, he's lost 6 total. Like, I think he lost 6 total boxing matches. He's like 41-6 or something. And he was a world champion. He's not a fucking bum, man. He's not Canelo. Anyway, all right, I got to jump. I'm at a hotel. But just to recap, though, really quick. So the reason that this is such a huge thing, I said this at the beginning, but I'll say it again. The reason this is such a huge thing is because you have 2 options, okay? 2 things can come out of this. One is Jake signs with the UFC. He's going to fight MMA. That I would fucking bet my life on it. He's going to fight MMA. If he says he's going to do it, he's going to fucking do it. If you think otherwise, you have not been watching. If you want to know what a person's going to do, just look at what they've already done. You know, if I'm like, dude, I'm going to do 10 videos over the next 6 days, you could fucking bet your life I'm doing the videos because you have multiple years of watching me say I'm going to do that and then I deliver. Jake Paul has done literally every single thing that he said he was going to do. And so if he says he's going to go do, he says he's going to do UFC or MMA, he's going to do it. So one option is he goes to UFC. Obviously, he's done this shit back and forth with Dana. This is business. Jake will be as big as Brock Lesnar. 100% Dana would sign him in a heart. I could say 100% for any person that's not me, but I would let someone chop my fucking finger off if Dana was like, no, we're not signing Jake under any circumstances. And I'll tell you exactly why also. Not just because of the upside that it provides the UFC, but this is the other side of it, which is really important to note. Jake Paul, if he signs with another organization, that takes that organization into this whole other category because no one will drive numbers like that guy. Like just straight up, like in his MMA debut, they could put him in there with a fucking tomato can, which they will. And it will do bananas numbers. The last time that the UFC, was kind of in like a heated back and forth with an organization. I mean, I guess there was some Bellator stuff like around the CM Punk time, but Elite XC. And that was because of Kimbo, just because of Kimbo. That's the thing that, like, again, I keep coming back to this in all my videos. It's like people think that the fight business is driven by, who's the best guy. That's only part of it. What's driven by is, are people interested to watch this person fight? And people will definitely be interested to see how Jake Paul does in mixed martial arts. And if he goes to some other organization, right, and they feed him a tomato can and he fucking blitzkriegs him, right, just puts him in the fucking dirt. That builds the idea, like what would actually happen between him and the UFC champion it's not even fucking relevant. It's just because people are just going to start talking. They're going to be like, dude, I don't know, man. Do you see how he moved? Like that's MMA fans are all, passionate people like me and like you guys. But we're all also stupid in some cases. We're like, if you see a guy beat the living shit out of another guy, it's really hard to not fall into the trap of like, God damn, you always have to like remember, you're like, okay, well, who is the guy that he beat up? And like all of us are susceptible to that. Like, look at how we're all talking about Bo Nickel. We have no fucking idea. That was kind of my point with my video. It's like, dude, he might be the best thing ever, but let's just find out right now. Like, let's just do it right fucking now. I mean, Chael said the same thing. Let's do it fucking right now. But like, but with Jake, he blitzkriegs a couple nobodies. People are going to talk. And here's the other thing that I was saying at the beginning. This is the first time in I don't even know, where Jake just became the biggest MMA free agent on the market, right? I don't know what his boxing contract looks like, but in terms of signing with an organization, he just became the biggest free agent in the world. And you also, at the same time, have Nate Diaz free agent and Francis free agent. So, I mean, dude, if someone actually made a big play and tried to get all 3 of those guys, I don't know who would have the money to do that, or I don't even know what that looks like. But right now is this like once in a decade opportunity where you have 3 enormous free agents at the same time. I'm trying to think of like who could even be a bigger free agent than I mean, Connor obviously would be the only one. Connor might be the only one that's a bigger free agent than Jake, honestly. For at least for the first MMA fight. And I'm just talking for like pure MMA, not for like if they did some mixed rules boxing shit. But oh, Bo is nasty, dude. Anyway, okay, so let me explain this. So here's the thing. He doesn't need to. That's the thing. That's how big he is. He doesn't need to. He can literally, instead of doing an exhibition boxing match, he could do an exhibition mixed martial arts match. He could do it himself. You know? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how it all plays out on him beating Anderson, because like I said, I think I'm being pretty clear. I'm pretty bullish on Jake Paul's like athleticism and his nuclear power. But Anderson is a fucking terrible matchup, man. Anyway, all right, I gotta jump. Love you guys. I'll try to come on sometime later this weekend. Later.